The series begins with a beautiful young woman named Tian, who's getting ready for a job interview at a major company. She seems excited and hopeful. However, when she arrives at the company headquarters, she notices something odd. The manager has set strange rules like banning anyone wearing the color red from entering the building. Tian is confused by this, but she goes inside anyway. She admires the company's designs, and it's clear she's passionate about the field. She's applying for a design position, but the real shock comes when she spots one of her own designs displayed on the wall, credited to someone else, Kevin, the head of the design department. She's stunned. Kevin has stolen her design and claimed it as his own. Tian is furious and begins planning how to expose him and reclaim her rights. When it's finally time for her interview, it turns out Kevin himself is conducting it. At first, Tian speaks calmly, but she eventually confronts him and accuses him of stealing her work. Kevin becomes nervous, fearing she'll expose him, and quickly calls security to throw her out of the building. But Tian refuses to give up easily. She waits outside the company building, hoping to speak directly to the CEO. Eventually, a handsome man named Leo shows up, and Tian immediately recognizes him as the CEO. She approaches him and tells him that someone in his company stole her design and that he needs to do something about it. But Leo brushes her off. He's busy and uninterested in what she has to say. Angered, Tian throws her keychain at him. It knocks off his glasses, and in that moment, something strange happens. Leo loses consciousness. Later, we learn from his assistant that Leo suffers from a rare condition. Whenever he sees the color red, he faints. That's why he wears special glasses that block out red hues. But when Tian threw the red keychain and knocked off his glasses, he saw the color and passed out. The next day, Tian returns to the company. She's more determined than ever to get justice. She manages to enter again and shows Leo a t-shirt with her design on it, proving Kevin stole her work. Unfortunately, the design is in red and Leo isn't wearing his glasses. He starts to collapse again, but something strange happens. As soon as he touches Tian, his symptoms disappear. Puzzled, Leo decides to test this. He takes off his glasses and looks at the color red. Again, he starts feeling sick. But when he touches Tian or looks at her, he immediately feels better. Clearly, there's something mysterious about her. Meanwhile, Tian keeps explaining how Kevin stole her design, but Leo is too distracted by the fact that her presence cancels out his illness. The next day, Leo confirms the truth. Kevin did steal the design. He fires Kevin immediately. Later, Leo attends a meeting with investors. They tell him about a very important upcoming party. A major celebrity will be there, someone who could bring huge benefits if convinced to collaborate. But the problem is, the entire party theme is red, which is dangerous for Leo's condition. He can't wear his glasses the whole time, so he decides to find a solution. Leo asks his assistant to call Tian. When she arrives, he informs her that Kevin has been fired, but the real reason he invited her was personal. He wants her to attend the red-themed party with him and stay by his side the whole time, holding his hand so he won't be affected by the color red. Tian misunderstands and thinks it's something romantic or inappropriate, so she refuses and walks out. But Leo doesn't give up easily. He and his assistant go to her house and offer her a bank card with a large amount of money as a reward. She still refuses and kicks them out. As a last resort, Leo tells her that the celebrity attending the party is Lee, someone Tian greatly admires. That changes everything. She agrees to go with Leo and hold his hand during the party. On the day of the event they attend together, Leo is amazed that he's completely unaffected by the red decorations, as long as he's with Tian. Later, he tries to talk business with Lee and pitch a deal, but unfortunately, Lee is arrogant and refuses to collaborate. As the party goes on, a crowd begins to gather around them. Tian accidentally gets separated from Leo, and with red all around, Leo collapses. Just before he hits the ground, Tian catches him, still unaware of his condition or the real reason he brought her. Afterward, Leo takes her for a ride in his car to discuss a job offer. He hands her a contract, offering her a position at his company. Tian is thrilled until she gets home and reads the contract with her friend. She's shocked to discover that the position is not in the design department, but as Leo's personal assistant. Furious, she returns the next day and tells Leo that the job is insulting. She refuses and storms out. But Leo, knowing he needs her close to manage his condition, shows up at her home again, this time offering a huge salary to convince her. Still, Tian turns him down, telling him money isn't everything. Leo continues trying to win her over, but Tian stands firm. Days pass, and Tian starts applying to other companies, but unfortunately, she keeps getting rejected. Feeling frustrated and hopeless after being rejected by every company, Tian walks aimlessly through the streets, heartbroken. Coincidentally, Leo happens to be in the same area and spots her. He approaches to talk, but as usual, Tian responds with sarcasm, telling him to stop following her. When he once again offers her the personal assistant position, she starts to suspect that Leo might be the reason other companies are rejecting her, trying to pressure her into working with him. Although her assumption is wrong, she lashes out at him, walks away, and knocks his glasses to the ground. Leo stays behind, confused and surprised. Suddenly, a red car passes by, and, because of his condition, he faints. Tian sees him collapse and rushes to help, eventually getting him to the hospital. After making sure he's okay, Tian prepares to leave. But just as she's exiting, she overhears Leo's assistant explaining his condition to a nurse. That's when Tian learns Leo's secret. He has a serious problem with the color red. She begins recalling their past encounters and realizes that Leo needs her because her presence acts like a cure for him. To confirm this, Tian applies red makeup and returns to Leo's room. As soon as he sees her, he starts to feel dizzy, confirming her theory. Tian tells him she now knows everything. They sit down for a conversation where Leo opens up about his condition and finally tells her the truth. He asks her again to work with him, not just as an assistant, but because he truly needs her by his side. This time, Tian agrees, but only on one condition. She wants to work in the design department and be his personal assistant. Leo agrees and both are satisfied with the deal. The next day, Tian returns to the company cheerful and full of energy. First, she meets with Leo to discuss her assistant responsibilities, then she heads to the design team to introduce herself and begin her work. Later, Tian meets up with her best friend, who needs a big favor. Her friend, a journalist, asks Tian to convince Leo to do an interview with her, as her boss is pressuring her to speak with influential figures. Out of loyalty, Tian promises to help. Back at the office, Tian accidentally bumps into a coworker and drops her papers. As they gather them, the coworker notices a letter addressed to Leo and mistakenly assumes it's a love letter from Tian. In truth, it's just a request for the interview. The coworker spreads the gossip around the office, and soon everyone, including Leo, hears about Tian's supposed feelings for him. Being handsome and a bit proud, Leo believes it immediately, thinking Tian wrote him a love letter to confess her feelings. As a result, he begins avoiding her, thinking she's about to declare her love. Meanwhile, Tian keeps chasing him to talk about the interview, and he thinks she's chasing him romantically. Eventually, she catches him in the car and tells him she needs to discuss something important. Before she can explain, Leo cuts her off, saying, "I'm sorry, but I don't have feelings for you, and we can't be together." Tian bursts out laughing and mocks him, saying he's not even her type. She then shows him the letter and explains it was for the interview request, not a love confession. Leo is deeply embarrassed, feeling his pride wounded. In the heat of the moment, he refuses to do the interview. However, the next day at the office, Leo overhears employees admiring the famous celebrity Lee, the one from the party, and he changes his mind. After all, the interview would put him on the cover of magazines. He decides to go ahead with it. He sits down with Tian's friend and completes the interview successfully. Later that evening, Tian joins Leo in his car for her assistant duties. He tells her they need to buy supplies to celebrate the return of his younger brother John from a trip. They go shopping together, prepare everything, and surprise John at home. The two brothers reunite, and Leo introduces Tian to him. The day ends on a sweet note. The next day at work, Tian learns that she and her team have been promoted and assigned an important new project. Meanwhile, she continues spending a lot of time with Leo as his assistant. But as she becomes more involved in the design project, Tian realizes she needs to prioritize her career. She starts ignoring Leo and his calls, focusing instead on her design responsibilities. When she finally talks to him about it, trying to explain her situation, Leo becomes upset. He reminds her that they had a deal, that she would balance both jobs. Tian, frustrated, leaves and heads home, feeling emotionally drained. On the other side, we see Leo at his house when suddenly someone rings the doorbell. He opens the door and is surprised to find Lena, his childhood friend, who clearly has feelings for him. Lena tells Leo she brought some paintings as a gift to decorate his home. Uncomfortable with her presence, Leo quickly calls Tian, asking her to come over and rescue him from the situation. Tian sees this as an opportunity and agrees to help, in exchange for being allowed to continue working in the design department without interference. Leo reluctantly agrees. When Tian arrives, she helps him organize the house. She climbs a ladder to arrange decorations, but on the way down, she slips. Leo manages to catch her just in time, but in the chaos, Tian accidentally kisses his forehead. It's a sweet but awkward moment between them, especially in front of Lena, who is visibly hurt and uncomfortable. Because of the awkward kiss on his forehead, Tian quickly runs out of Leo's house, embarrassed, and forgets her belongings. Leo follows her to return them. When he comes back, he sees a young man holding a bouquet of red roses. But the surprising part is, Leo doesn't faint upon seeing the color red, even though Tian isn't with him and he isn't wearing his special glasses. That's when he realizes that his condition is finally cured. Overjoyed, he goes home with red roses to celebrate the occasion. The next day, Leo visits his doctor and explains that he's no longer affected by the color red. He tells him that the last incident was the kiss from Tian, and the doctor suspects that her kiss might have triggered a positive development in his condition. Leo is thrilled and decides to do all the things he couldn't do before. He goes out with his friend, surrounds himself with red objects, and enjoys life freely for the first time in years. He even goes to the cinema to watch an action film filled with red visuals, something he could never tolerate before. Back at work, Leo decides to bring his younger brother John into the company and assigns him a suitable position, but John turns out to be lazy and unmotivated. One day, Leo and Tian attend a design exhibition together. While there, Tian notices something odd. Leo looks directly at a red design without his glasses and doesn't get sick. She realizes it's true. He's completely healed. Tian is genuinely happy for him and says now she can fully focus on her design work and step away from the personal assistant role. But Leo is disappointed by her reaction. He doesn't understand why she's so happy to be leaving him. The next day, a problem arises regarding their new project. One of the designs they plan to use is linked to Kevin, the designer who was fired for stealing Tian's work. They now worry he might have stolen this design too, so they need to find the original artist and get publishing rights directly from them. Leo assigns the task to John, it's his first real responsibility, and tells him to go to the artist's village and secure the rights. John reluctantly agrees, especially when Lena decides to go with him. Together, they travel to the village, but once there, they struggle to locate the artist or find any useful details. Frustrated, they argue and accidentally knock over a sacred village stone with the village's name on it. At first, they think it's no big deal, but suddenly the villagers show up angry and capture them, demanding compensation for the damaged stone. Since John is inexperienced, the villagers call Leo to come handle the situation. He arrives with Tian, and together they meet the village elder and negotiate the release of John and Lena in exchange for a fair settlement. Leo then takes over the mission to find the artist, with Tian by his side. The next day, they finally locate the artist's house and knock on his door to ask for permission to use his design, but the artist refuses to cooperate. He even throws water at them and tells them to leave. Of course, Leo and Tian don't give up. They camp outside the artist's house, hoping he'll eventually come out and talk. During this time, they open up to each other about their lives, and Leo begins to realize that Tian's presence makes him happy, even though he no longer needs her as a cure. Eventually, the artist steps out. They're shocked to see it's the same man who rejected Leo's proposal at the party. Tian then shifts tactics. She softens her tone, helps him with chores, and builds a rapport. She joins him in the farmland, offers to do some of his work with a hoe, and Leo helps her too. They work hard, hoping he'll be moved by their sincerity. Eventually, Leo shares their vision with the artist, that they want to use his design for a good cause that will benefit people. Touched by their honesty and passion, the artist finally agrees and signs over the publishing rights. Now they must return to the city. But since the village is underdeveloped, there are no cars, buses, or even cell reception. They ride a tractor with one of the locals to the nearest train station. But while on the way, Leo gets a call from his brother informing him of a major issue at the company that needs his immediate attention. Unfortunately, the tractor breaks down, forcing Leo and Tian to continue on foot. They try to find a ride or reach the station by walking, but they get lost in the countryside. As night falls and it starts raining, they find shelter in an abandoned place and decide to spend the night there. They eat together, talk about life, and completely forget about the company crisis. Leo is fully absorbed in the moment with Tian, feeling something real growing between them. The next day, they finally return to the company. Leo handles the crisis with ease and restores the company's reputation in the media. With things settled, Leo feels this is the perfect moment to figure out his true feelings for Tian. He talks with his assistant about it, asking questions and reflecting. The assistant confirms what Leo already suspects. He's in love, so Leo asks his assistant to help him express those feelings to Tian. The next day, their plan kicks off. When Tian enters her office, she finds it filled with gifts and photos of Leo everywhere. She's confused, not realizing Leo is trying to win her heart. Later, Leo invites her to lunch at a fancy restaurant. While Tian behaves normally, Leo is tense and looking for the right moment to express his feelings. He keeps focusing on her hand, remembering his assistant's advice to hold her hand as a sign of affection. But Leo, lacking romantic experience, fails to do so, and his awkward behavior confuses Tian. After lunch, Leo returns to his assistant and admits the plan failed. The assistant suggests that maybe Tian doesn't love him at all, but Leo refuses to believe it. The assistant gives in and says maybe she does, but they'll need a better plan to be sure. That's when the assistant proposes a crazy idea. Leo should pretend to be drunk and call Tian for help. Leo's assistant suggests that if Tian finds him drunk, she might take the opportunity to finally express her true feelings, especially since she'll assume he won't remember anything the next day. That way, Leo can find out if she loves him or not. Leo follows the plan and pretends to be drunk. He arranges for a worker at the place to call Tian and tell her to take him home. When Tian arrives, Leo continues acting as if he's unaware of his surroundings until they get to the house. She tries to help him recover, even offering him something to drink to ease the effects of alcohol. But Leo isn't interested in sobering up. His only goal is to know how she feels. While pretending to be drunk, he asks her if there's anything she wants to say and promises to give her whatever she wants. Expecting her to confess her love or ask to be in a relationship, Leo is shocked when Tian simply asks for more freedom in her work and to have her vacation days counted properly. Disappointed, Leo agrees, and she leaves. The next day, Tian is seen working on the new project, the same one she and Leo traveled to secure the design rights from the artist Lee. Unexpectedly, Lee shows up and approaches Tian with a very kind and friendly attitude. A few minutes later, Leo arrives and sees them together. The moment he sees Lee holding Tian's hand, Leo is overwhelmed with jealousy. A rivalry begins between the two men, each trying to win Tian's attention. Leo decides to stay with them for the rest of the day, so Lee doesn't get a chance to get close to her. He sticks by Tian's side and helps her prepare for the project's launch party. He also tries to block Lee from spending time alone with her. Later, while they're sitting together, Tian leans toward Leo, and for a second he thinks she's finally about to confess her love. But she surprises him by saying she got close to him because his cologne reminds her of a cat she used to love. Even though he's disappointed, Leo doesn't give up. He stays close to her, and his admiration becomes more obvious. At the end of the day, Tian goes to speak with Lee before leaving. He surprises her with a gift and gets a little too close, almost touching her hair. Just in time, Leo shows up and pulls her away, clearly jealous. He scolds Tian, telling her she shouldn't be with Lee because he tried to touch her. Without realizing it, Leo touches Tian's cheek out of emotion, and he's stunned by his own boldness. The moment is awkward for both of them. Later, Leo tells his assistant what happened. He's happy he was able to stand up for her, but also irritated that Lee keeps trying to get closer to her. The next day, Leo is talking with his friend and finally admits that he's in love with Tian. Just then, Tian appears, walking through the mall with Lee. Shocked, Leo quickly hides so they don't see him and decides to secretly follow them. Meanwhile, we learn that Tian only invited Lee to the movies to apologize for how Leo had dragged her away without letting her say goodbye the day before. But Lee misunderstands, thinking Tian invited him because she has feelings for him. Back at the cinema, Leo sneaks in with his assistant and sits beside Tian, pretending it's just a coincidence. The tension between Leo and Lee is intense. They start subtly competing for Tian's attention, but Tian is clearly annoyed and confused by their behavior. Afterward, the three of them go out to eat, and again, Leo and Lee argue. To settle things, they agree to a drinking challenge. Whoever gets drunk first loses. Despite Tian's attempts to stop them, they begin drinking heavily and both end up wasted. Tian quickly calls her best friend for help. They take the two men to a hotel so they can rest and sober up. Later that night, Tian reflects on Leo's behavior and starts to suspect that he really might love her, but he's never expressed it directly, so she's not sure. The next day, Leo discusses the situation with his assistant, and they come up with a new plan. Leo will pretend to have a girlfriend in front of Tian to make her jealous, hoping to reveal her true feelings. Leo finds out where Tian will be that day and sets the scene to make everything look like a coincidence. Tian goes to the spot to meet Li, and Leo arrives with a girl who pretends to be his girlfriend. As time passes, Leo keeps glancing at Tian, growing frustrated when he sees her smiling and accepting a gift from Li. Just as she's about to leave with Li, Leo steps in and tells her he needs to talk about something important. To his surprise, Tian seems annoyed, like she really is jealous. They go aside to talk, and Tian asks him what he wants. That's when Leo confesses his feelings and tells her he likes her, but Tian doesn't believe him. She points out that he was just sitting with another girl. Leo explains it was all part of a plan to show her how he felt. Still, Tian doesn't believe him and walks away, upset. The next day, Leo meets with Tian again to apologize and tries to convince her he was telling the truth. Although Tian has already forgiven him, she still acts distant and irritated. As they walk together, Leo tries his best to make it up to her. Eventually, they agree to go have dinner together at the end of the day. Leo, Tian, John, his brother, and Lena, his childhood friend who has a crush on him, all meet up at a restaurant. Lena has long suspected there's something going on between Leo and Tian, and during dinner, she tries to provoke Tian with subtle comments and make her feel uncomfortable. However, Leo constantly defends Tian, taking her side every time, which makes Lena visibly jealous and upset. After the meal, Leo drives Tian home. Before she heads inside, he asks her whether she believes in his feelings for her. Tian replies that she trusts him, but still doesn't give him a clear answer about whether she feels the same way. Leo understands that she might need time, so he gives her space. But from Tian's joyful expression, it's clear she doesn't need time at all. She already loves him, but she's too shy to admit it. Days pass, and it's Lena's birthday. Since Leo and John have been friends with her since childhood, they join in the celebration and bring her gifts. When it's time to make a birthday wish, Leo teasingly asks Lena to share her wish. Maybe he can help make it come true. Lena seizes the moment and boldly says her only wish is to be with Leo, but Leo gently shuts her down, telling her he sees her only as a sister. Lena tries to laugh it off, pretending she was joking, but in reality, she's hurt because she truly loves him. Oddly enough, John also seems upset by the exchange. We learn from his reaction that he secretly has feelings for Lena and wishes she'd notice him instead. One day, one of Tian's colleagues informs her that she's earned a prestigious opportunity abroad. She's been selected to participate in a 3-month international training related to her field. Leo is genuinely happy for her and invites her to dinner to celebrate the exciting news. He prepares a romantic surprise, gifts her a beautiful bouquet, and creates a lovely, intimate atmosphere. Tian is thrilled at how their relationship is growing. The next morning, Leo wakes up feeling tired. He decides to take the day off and stay home. He asks his assistant to send over the important files he needs to review. Later, when the doorbell rings, Leo expects to find his assistant, but it's Tian, who came herself to deliver the files and check in on him. Leo, in his house clothes and clearly unprepared, feels a bit embarrassed, but Tian doesn't mind at all. She comes in and chats with him casually. Just as she's about to leave and return to work, Leo pretends to feel unwell, hoping she'll stay longer. The plan works. Tian stays, taking care of him. A while later, Tian's phone rings. It's Li. Leo overhears the call and realizes that Li is going on the 3-month trip with Tian. Jealous and worried, Leo begins imagining everything that could happen between them during that time. He panics and pretends to be seriously ill again, even going as far as saying that his condition with the color red has returned, hoping this will scare Tian enough to cancel her travel plans and stay by his side. Leo's acting is so convincing that Tian believes him. Concerned, she takes him to visit his doctor. Once alone with the doctor, Leo confesses everything, that he faked the illness to stop Tian from leaving. The doctor agrees to help and plays along, lying to Tian to support Leo's story. The plan works, and from that day on, Tien starts caring for Leo again, doing everything she can to help him recover from an illness that no longer exists. Leo has no choice but to continue the charade. Even when he goes back to the company, he puts on his red blocking glasses in front of Tien to avoid suspicion. One day, Tien takes Leo to a charming location to lift his mood. They spend quality time together, talking, laughing, and enjoying the moment. When Leo asks what she wishes for the most, Tien replies that her only wish is for him to be fully cured. Hearing that, Leo feels overwhelmed with guilt. He realizes he's taken the lie too far and decides he must come clean and apologize. The next day, Tien visits Leo at home to care for him and cook a meal. While preparing food, she accidentally cuts her hand, and Leo instinctively reacts, not showing any signs of sickness despite seeing red blood and red-colored food. That's when Tien realizes the truth. She confronts Leo, who admits he was going to tell her everything, but didn't find the right moment. He explains he only lied because he was afraid of her trip with Lee, afraid she'd fall for someone else and leave him. Tien is devastated, not just because he lied, but because he didn't trust her. She walks away, heartbroken. Days later, Tien is seen with Lee, who tries to use the situation to his advantage. He confesses that he has feelings for her, but Tien gently turns him down, telling him she sees him only as a friend. Lee is respectful and says he understands, but hopes she'll think about it. When they step outside, they find Leo waiting with a bouquet of flowers, ready to apologize and ask for forgiveness. But Tien, still hurt, rejects his apology and walks away. Leo tries to follow, but Lee steps in and tells him to back off. Leo responds that this is a matter between him and Tien and Lee shouldn't interfere. Leo then visits his doctor friend again, asking for advice. The doctor informs him that the company has given all employees a 2-day vacation. He encourages Leo to use the time wisely, to choose a romantic location and win Tien back. Taking the advice to heart, Leo organizes a company getaway to a beautiful beach destination, hoping it will be the perfect opportunity to make things right with Tien. Leo uses every chance he gets to talk to Tien alone, but as always, she refuses to engage with him. He's unsure how to win her back, but he never gives up. He keeps following her until finally he manages to speak with her. He tells her that he's willing to do anything to make up for his mistake and admits that he's always trusted her. It's himself he never trusted. He confesses that he can't bear seeing someone else getting close to her. Tien believes him. His words are genuine, but she still pretends to be angry and walks away. However, she takes a big step soon after. She officially ends things with Lee, telling him she only sees him as a friend and ends it all on good terms. The next day, Leo has a sweet surprise planned for her. He takes her on a romantic hot air balloon ride, the perfect setting to express his feelings and remind her of how much he loves her. His words touch Tien deeply, and she finally opens up too. She tells him that she's liked him for a long time and explains just how much he means to her. From that moment, their relationship becomes official, and they are both overjoyed. They spend the day walking and talking, until suddenly, a criminal attacks them with a weapon. Tragically, Leo is seriously injured, bleeding heavily and losing consciousness. In that moment, memories from his childhood flood back. We see that, as a child, Leo had been in a car accident with his father. Right before his father died, he had said goodbye and expressed regret for spending more time at work than with his son. Just before young Leo lost consciousness in the memory, a little girl kissed him on the forehead to calm him down. Back in the present, Leo slowly wakes up. Tien is by his side, watching over him. As they talk, he asks her if she had ever tried to save a child from a car accident. They realize that Tien was the same girl who tried to comfort young Leo years ago. That's when it all makes sense. This connection is why her touch cured his illness. Soon after, Leo's assistant arrives, and the three of them talk. Leo surprises them by saying he's decided to resign from work entirely and just enjoy life. When he leaves the hospital, Tien stays close to him. He reassures her that his decision is real. He wants to spend his life with her and only her. Though Tien is happy, something about it feels off. She wonders if the accident affected Leo's mind. But in truth, Leo is perfectly clear-headed. He's determined not to repeat his father's mistake of choosing work over love. But there's also another reason, which we'll discover soon. Days later, Leo moves in with Tien and begins a new chapter in his life. Time passes peacefully. Then one day, Leo tells Tian something shocking. He plans to return to the company. She's surprised and confused. That's when Leo reveals the truth. This was all part of his plan. He stepped away from the company to give the person who was trying to hurt him the freedom to act, so Leo could expose him. And Leo succeeded. He found out that the culprit was one of the biggest investors in the company, and shockingly, he had been secretly working with Kevin, the designer who once stole Tian's work, and the same man who had attacked and injured Leo. Leo returns to the company and briefs his assistant. The company is now in serious trouble, as clients have lost trust due to the investors' shady actions. Leo throws himself into fixing everything. Tian, meanwhile, hasn't forgotten about her love. She brings him food, checks on him, and urges him to take a break. She takes him to an amusement park to relax and have fun. Surprisingly, this joyful moment sparks an idea in Leo's mind, a brilliant business strategy that could save the company. He rushes back to implement it, and the plan works. Client trust is restored, the company earns massive profits, and Leo confronts the corrupt investor. Armed with evidence, he exposes him and Kevin, removing them from the company completely. With everything resolved, life returns to normal. But it's not just Leo and Tian who find happiness. Tian's journalist friend and Leo's doctor friend fall in love too. Even Leo's brother, John, and Lena, once stuck in one-sided love, end up falling for each other. As the days go by, the most romantic moment arrives. Leo plans the surprise of a lifetime for Tian, a secret wedding proposal. He speaks to her from the heart, telling her how deeply he loves her. Then he kneels down and asks her to marry him. Tian says yes with joy in her heart, and Leo gently slips the ring on her finger. And so, the story ends with a beautiful, happy ending, and the beginning of a new chapter in the love story of Leo and Tian.